Good morning. I would like to thank for the invitation. I have the opportunity of sharing with you the discovery of El Encierro, high-grade porphyry. It's in Chile, in the Atacama region, 500 kilometers northeast of Santiago, the high mountain range between Chile and Argentina, 4,000 meters above sea level. In the regional context, I can mention that it is between the Indio and Maricunga belts with different copper, gold, porphyries like Los Helados, Valeriano, and there's epithermal deposits as Pacolama, Veladero, and El Indio. The regional map. We have the basement formed by stratified rock of the thermal and Triassic, even the same age. Subsequently, there are sedimentary strata deposited from the Paleocene, and the structural system corresponds to faults towards the east and west south strike. This create a graben in the main body, and this allows for the deposition of Miocene deposits and the sediments and the conservation of hydrothermalism in this area. And intrusions of ages between 60 million years to 20 million years. They are deposited on the Miocene pyroclasts. And last, the intrusive of the Miocene, which take 11 to 10 million years, and these are the fluvial modern deposits. The mining property corresponds to 9,400 hectares, was explored, historically explored, in search of epithermal deposits. And 2016, Antofagasta Minerals signed an agreement with Barrick to exploit this area in the search of high-grade porphyries, which are in epithermal deposits at depth. All of this data was good to prepare an inferred resource model that I will present later on. Well, the concept of exploration, after relogging the historical data, we have generated 4 hypotheses. The main one is to test the licta alteration, the quartz vein stockwork, and the increase of the chalcopyrite-pyrite ratio. And we also assumed that there could be better grade porphyries in areas which were unexplored. And also we saw that there was zoning in the vertical of the hydrothermal breccias, and we accepted and we generated the moly-iso grade correlation. This allowed us to generate a map with a campaign. The first campaign was super successful. We managed to discover the high-grade body. We have an intercept of 424 meters, 0.92 equivalents, and 462 meters of 0.76 equivalent. Both are located in hydrothermal breccias which have not been tested before. The second drilling campaign, well, there we attempted to extend this big intercept that we had, north-south strike with a 200-meter mesh, and the results are in the presentation. I can mention El Encierro, enclosure 10, and the most important intercept of the project is enclosure 12, with 756 meters with 0.96% of equivalent copper. These intercepts are in hydrothermal bridges and feldspar quartz which have not been recognized before. The last campaign carried out by Antofagasta Minerals consisted in trying to provide continuity to this high-grade body recognized as enclosure 12, and the main results are shown in the section. I can now mention that there were enclosure 26, 446 meters, 0.99. We are using a targeted drilling method, and we wanted to be careful with the deviation here. This is part of the work that the geologists performed. This is a surface map where in pink you can see the porphyry which is outcropping to the surface with hydrothermal bridges in yellow. The green body of the north is a precursor dendrite, and in light blue is phyllic argillic. The type section, you can see the porphyries, early porphyries cut by intermediate minerals that do not reach the surface, with the same model recognized with the potassic alteration in dark rose and sericite and pyrite in yellow. After cutting this with a hypogenic alteration, actually this is an acid alteration with pyrite, boronite, tecnectite, aldegnite. So then there's a chalcocine in the supergenic enrichment, and the high part, it's partially leached and leached with an advanced aldrilic alteration. Some pictures that we have from the basement rhyolites, the tuffs. This is the 20 million years precursor, the different contact breccias, the early porphyries intercepted by Antofagasta Minerals, 10 million years as well. The breccias that I mentioned before with the potassic alteration quartz, pyrite, hydrite, and biotite, and those to the right with magnetite, chalcopyrite, pyrite, with porphyry clasts and tuffs. Evidence of potassic alteration that I mentioned, the biotite and the KF, and the phyllic alteration with potassic remnants, the propylitic alteration in the borders, the argillic alteration with alite matrix, advanced argillic with alunite. In the project, we found 12 types of veinlets, which were differentiated depending on their temporality, mineralogy, and cut ratios. We have the early veinlets with the EB, EDM, the coarse and sinuated V with moly. Later on, the classic D, the PY veins, the tourmaline veinlets, and the epithermal and supergenic veins with decayed PY and alunite. And the mineralization shows the lichet with the supergenic enrichment of chalcocine and cuveline in veins, hypogenic enrichment, boronite or rather pyrite, and the typical association of EH in an encierro. This is primate mineralization of pyrite to the left and primary mineralization of pyrite in the porphyry. Below, we have the administration of chalcopyrite and the hydrothermal breccias. Well, we can say here that the Encierro porphyry is a classic system of copper, gold, and moly with the overlap of an epithermal system with intermediate sulfidation. It's a high-grade porphyry system discovered in the Indio-Pascua belt, and the system is well preserved with evidence of a lithocap and surface with an alteration that will grade from advanced argillic, quartz sericite, phyllic over potassic and potassic. These are the resources inferred. The global potential of the El Encierro project reaches 2,400 million tons with 0.57 equivalents, and it has a center for a cut grade of 0.35% copper. Now, in the project, we are operating in all directions. The porphyry at El Encierro is one of the most important discoveries in the Lindio Maricunga belt. I'm sharing some pictures of the project for you to see the effort the geologists are putting, which proving this discovery to be very positive. Well, thank you very much. I exceeded my time, I think, a little bit. Thank you very much, Milenko. Excellent presentation. We still have some space for one question, if there were any questions. Well, we can allow this question. Can you raise your hand? José La Torre, M Consultant. Milenko, there are different questions here, but I will try to make it simple. Have you considered the number of resources associated to the intermediate sulfidation veins with a greater grade? Is there structural control of the hydrothermal breccias with the better grades of the project? The structural train is north 30 to the east, north 20 to 30 to the east. There's not much evidence of structures. They are sealed. The potential of the HS intermediate veins. The model is mainly made with primary mineralization. It's grouping the porphyries which are surrounded by the breccias. And it's 600. Thank you very much, and a great presentation.